literally just now, while filming this, Brennan actually texted me and they arrested the guy. They arrested the cop. Hey y'all, it's Bucky and welcome back to our channel. How are y'all doing? Happy Friday, the weekend is here. Today, we have a lot to talk about, but I do have a Habit burger today, and I think this is the first time that we've ever had Habit on the channel, and I actually just now had it for the first time this past week, and I was like, I have to do a video. Because look at this lettuce burger. Like, look at that. It is so delicious. And they also have fried green beans, like tempura fried green beans, and they are delicious. So whenever I had it last week, I was like, I have to do a video. I have to spread the word with how actually like delicious this is. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple of bites and then we'll get to talking. You've probably already noticed, I'm not my chipper, like, that's so good. Like happy self. I debated on doing this video and having this discussion, and obviously we're gonna be talking about George Floyd. It is such a sensitive subject that I debated on even having a conversation about it, because I like for our channel to be a breakaway from the real world. But sometimes we don't need to escape the reality of the world, because that's what happens a lot of times, and these things keep happening. And you know what? And I think we like to keep our channel so light a lot of times, but you know, sometimes I do feel like even though our platform is very small, I do think that on our platform we should talk about these types of things. And you know, if we lose subscribers over me talking about this, so be it. But the injustice of it all needs to be spoken. It is the most frustrating thing possible. And that's coming from a white person of privilege. Like, I can't even fathom what people of color feel, because for me to be this angry and this upset and this just frustrated with the system and that it keeps happening, like, because I don't know your walk of life. I don't know anybody's walk of life. Me being a white male that grew up in the South, I've seen a lot. I don't think that everybody's like this. But on my Facebook feed, which I've had to clean out pretty hardcore right now, there are so many people that literally the first response when things like this happen are, well, what about the white person that, or what about this incident where this cop killed this white person, blah, blah, blah. They always have to turn the narrative to kind of like fit them. And it's like, no, let's just stop and let's notice the trend that keeps happening. You're like, oh, the media, they just want you to see this. They just want you to see this. But what about this white person? And I hate like that excuse every time, and I hate seeing it so much. But it's constantly happening. And I feel like if that is your first instinct, instead of to see how awful this situation is, but for your first instinct to try to turn that around, no, you're the problem. It's so hard to get my words together. I don't know anybody else's walk, and I'm not claiming to know. And I feel like for us to not see that there is a huge, huge issue with black men being targeted by cops, being targeted by tons of white people that are still racist. Like, it's still a thing. We can keep hiding it and saying, oh no, I'm not racist. And it's like, no, people are. We shouldn't be afraid to honestly say the truth. And the truth is that black men are being targeted, and more so than any other race. Yes, other injustices happen for, you know, Hispanics or, you know, even white people, but the issue is it's happening more to black people, and that's what needs, all of it needs to stop, but that's what we need to focus on. I'm not eating right now. I will get to eating, but I just need to finish getting this off my chest, because it's so hard to come up with the exact words to say, and it's so hard to verbalize how I feel. And that, again, that just goes with, I know how I feel, and I can't imagine being a person of color, how they feel. You're the ones that are having to deal with it and see it more and have that conversation with your kids. You're having to have that conversation that should never even happen, but it does, because that's the world that we live in, and that's what needs to be done. Just with everything that happened with George Floyd, and it is such a topic that so many people are afraid to speak about, and I think it's because they are afraid they're going to say the wrong thing, so they just don't say anything. You know, they might share an article, or they might share the petition, but they don't really talk about it because they don't feel like it's their place. And it is. I think it's the place of everybody to talk about this, no matter what your skin color is. Because until we all realize that there is injustices, especially in the black male community, and that these cops can't just continue to do this and it be in the news for a week and then it just goes away and nothing really ever happens. That's what needs to stop. And that's why people shouldn't be afraid to speak up. We know it's wrong. And for people to make excuses being like, well, that happens to all races. Or let's go into the Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. It's like, yes, all lives matter. But you know what we need to focus on right now is these black lives that keep being taken for no reason. For no reason. That's what we need to focus on. Because this is happening more and more instead of getting better. That's the need. That's all lives, of course, all lives matter. But black lives matter, and that's what we keep seeing. That's what keeps happening. That's the injustices that literally, it's a pattern. It literally keeps happening. Quit thinking about what's just directly affecting you. Think about what's affecting those around you. Think about those people. Put yourself in their shoes. You can, because we can't fathom. I can't understand anybody else's walk, anybody else's situation. And I think that that's something that we need to be able to say. People need to understand that there are privileges that white people have. It's not okay, but you need to understand that that's a truth. And it's okay for you to say that that is a truth. Because without saying it and acknowledging it, we can't move forward. And we can't fix the injustices. And thank God that literally just now, while filming this, Brennan actually texted me and they arrested the guy. They arrested the cop. Finally. Right? I mean, I don't know why it took so long, but at least that has been done. Because now, in the news, a lot that we're seeing is, you know, the looting and the rioting, the going into Target and like looting, like that's what we're seeing. They're trying to turn the narrative. They're trying to change the story. That changes nothing about what happened. That changes nothing about the injustice that we see constantly happening. Like, don't try to put that news story and cover up the real issue. Because when people, like I was talking about the football players that were kneeling, that was a silent protest. That was a non-violent protest that literally the world got an uproar about and was so offended by. And it's like, well, they do this, they do these silent protests, nobody listens. What are they supposed to do? Not justifying, you know, any violent protesting, not justifying them going into Target and looting and like all that. No, like God no. But it's like at a certain point, honestly, like silent protesting and non-violent protesting, if nothing's being done, it's just, what's the point? You know what I mean? And there are so many things that have happened and good things that have come from, you know, nonviolent protests. There are. And that is definitely the way that it should be. But I'm just giving you the side of when people feel like nothing is happening from those, of course it's going to turn violent, because where does the attention go? The attention goes where the violence is happening. And that's how you become a news story, really. And it's awful, but it's true. So when you feel like nothing is really happening, that's obviously going to be your go-to. Not saying it's right at all. And anybody listening that's disagreeing, that's perfectly fine. But it's just kind of the truth. But definitely not saying you should do violent protests. God, no. But what should be acknowledged is the peaceful protest. And then, I mean, you can even go in, while we're on that topic, if we're talking about, you know, everything that was happening, them going into stores and all the crazy looting that was happening. I don't know if y'all have seen the story, but it's being brought up now that there was an undercover cop and there's video footage of him. His ex-wife actually identified him, but him going around and smashing out the windows. Like, have y'all seen that video? And I don't want to go into too much detail because I've just seen it today. I don't know how factual it is, but I was reading that his ex-wife identified him, and it's this white cop that was undercover, or not undercover, but he wasn't in a cop uniform. He was in all black, but that he was like sent there to kind of make everything just go even more crazy. Almost, and exactly what I was talking about before, trying to spin the narrative. But none of that can change what happened to George Floyd and what keeps happening. Because ultimately, and thank gosh he is arrested now, but that's where the issue lies. That's where the focus should be, because that's what matters. And thank goodness I am seeing people that, you know, like I was talking about earlier, that are trying to, it happens to everybody. It's not just black people. And I'm like, no, like quit trying to go there. Like just stop. Just take it for what it is. It's disgusting what keeps happening. And I don't know what I do. Like, I don't know what to do besides get on here, make a video, bring more awareness to it. For me to be this disgusted and this frustrated, sad, every emotion. I can't imagine being someone who's not white, who has kids that aren't white, and they have to have these discussions with them and like tell them that this is the world that we live in. People deserve to be angry. My heart goes out to all of George Floyd's family, friends. Thank goodness that the cop was just now arrested. I'm gonna get to eating. I haven't eaten anything, and I've been long-winded, but it's because I don't know the right words to say. And I think that's okay to admit, but something does need to be done. This can't continue. It shouldn't have to continue. People shouldn't be afraid to just walk out their door or be walking down the street. That's all I'm saying on it. Whew. Let's get to eating. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I know it's like, I probably should have ate and then talked about it, because now I'm just like, just even more frustrated, you know, like just having this conversation. Because how many times does this conversation have to happen before things get done? And before people realize that it's actually a thing? Like, it's not media. It's not the media just doing this to us. It's not the media. We saw footage. Anyways, these green bean things are literally why I love Habit so much. They are literally so delicious. And their burgers, and I love that, like, how much lettuce they put on this. Oh. This is good. Y'all, I don't know that I can just keep going. I think I'm gonna be done. And I'm sorry, but I don't even think, like, I'm just kind of not in the mood to eat right now. I'm sorry if this video offended anyone. Actually, I'm not, because if it offended you, then you have issues, and that's what needs to change. I think we're all sad, and if you're not sad and frustrated over the situation, no matter who you are, that's where the issue is. If you're sharing more of the looting videos and that this isn't right, this isn't okay, instead of sharing, you know, George Floyd and that situation and bringing awareness to that situation, then it kind of shows where you stand and the type of person you are, because nothing should look over what happened to him, because that's the real injustice. You know, the material things and the stuff that was taken and looted, yeah, it's not right. They shouldn't have done that. But it's like material stuff. This was somebody's life. Somebody that was just trying to breathe. Someone who vocally said, I can't breathe. And then there's video of him just basically dying in front of us. But anyways, y'all, I gotta get off here. I'm sorry this video is completely different than what I expected. If you have watched, I appreciate it. Thank you. It was kind of just me needing to vent. And I think venting and talking to your circle is great, and that's fine. But I don't think we start learning and understanding the world around us until we talk to people that aren't like us or aren't in our little bubble. You know, understanding them. I think that's where change begins to happen, is when you start trying to understand other people, the way that they believe, the way they have to live. And And you can't do that without conversation. And I think that is one of the main reasons I wanted to have this talk with y'all and do this video, because it's a scary thing to talk about, especially with the internet and like saying one thing wrong or one thing that can be mistaken, just kind of flipped. But things like this, you can't flip this. This cop was arrested, and hopefully all the other cops that were around him that day that saw what happened, they're arrested too. They, you know, they were there. They saw what was happening. You know, these things need to stop, and people need to quit abusing their power. Thank y'all again so much for watching. I love y'all. We'll get back to our normal schedule next week, but I just felt this video needed to be made. Needed to just kind of start a conversation, because like I said, I think change comes from conversation and understanding. But anyways, y'all, I love y'all, and just remember, when life gets tough, just keep on snacking. Bye, y'all.